Okay, we should be actually live. I'm not going to just believe this though. Let me check it real quick. Oh, we actually are live on YouTube. Okay, good start. So now we probably should kill some time while we wait for people to find their way over here. Sorry about that for those of you that have jumped over quickly. We ran into some weird technical difficulties, as you may have noticed, where the screen was just black when we went live. So appreciate the patience. Uh, okay, nice. People are getting in the chat here.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, while we wait for people to find the new link, looks like we got about 45 people figured it out so far. So maybe just drop in the chat where you're calling in from today. I'm calling in from Nashville. Where are you at, Ben?
I'm in New York, as you can see, Brooklyn, Williamsburg. And thank God people didn't hear what we were talking about before.
Yeah, we really messed up the intro before anyway, so it's really a
Yeah.
good thing that that we had to restart, and we got a second chance here.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Nice.
Let's see. In the chat, I'm seeing, hey, Inko, good to see you. Who else do I recognize in the chat? Intel Art, good to see you. Looks like we got Zoe from the Contra team, also in New York. Got India, London. Yeah, I'm missing my backwards black hat today. I need to get one of those. Got Bo calling in from Seattle. Reza also from the Contra team in Toronto, Michigan, Mexico, San Francisco. Let's go. Awesome. Okay. Looks like we should be good. Mitchell, maybe if you could just go and drop into the old comment section and old live chat, just drop in the new YouTube link again, just for the folks that haven't found their way over yet. But looks like we are probably good to rock here. If you are, let's see. Yeah, okay. I think we're good. Awesome. I'm Alex. Kate's out of office today, so I'm the host from the Bolt side here. And again, apologize for those technical difficulties. And Ben, let me kick it over to you to introduce yourself.
What's up, everyone? Love seeing a truly global chat. Welcome to the live stream. I'm glad we finally got it working. My name's Ben. I'm the co-founder, CEO of Contra.com. You can check us out. We are a professional network for creative builders like all of you. And I'm super, super excited to show everyone how Contra, uses Bolt, how we use Bolt for some killer vibe marketing. So more to come there.
Awesome. Yeah, I think this is going to be going to be a great stream, both for people that work at larger organizations and they're kind of curious how people are adopting Bolt and fitting that into their tech marketing stack, as well as, of course, agencies, freelancers, and entrepreneurs who are looking to use the tool to build their businesses or serve their clients. So I thought a perfect place to start today would be, we've got Ben here, the co-founder and CEO himself. So let's learn a little bit more about Contra as a business and kind of where the idea for the business came from and the founding story.
Yeah, so I've been a creative builder my whole life, like many people here. I started on ThemeForest, reverse engineering, like bootstrap templates, started in the WordPress ecosystem way, way back in the day. And my creative skill was actually music production turned app design, mobile design, all of those things. And so Contra was really built around kind of a personal problem that myself and our entire team, including my co-founder, had. So we realized that if you're a creative builder, oftentimes like you didn't really fit into the corporate world. You had many skills. You could do a lot of different things. You could design, you could build websites. Now with Bolt, you can build apps, which is crazy. But back in the day, like there was Elance and Odesk that turned into Upwork, and then there was like Upwork and Fiverr, and there's this one really, really great creative marketplace called Crew. It was this marketplace based in Montreal. It's part of the Unsplash team, if everyone knows. Like Unsplash does like royalty-free stock images and stuff like that. Anyway, long story short, I was a power user on all these marketplaces, like both hiring and trying to get hired. And Crew actually got acquired by Dribble. So a lot of you probably know Dribble. It's a design network still around today. Crew got acquired by Dribble. Like I said, I was a power user, and they ended up shutting it down. It was a botched acquisition. And so I was like, okay, there's no good home for creative builders on the internet. There's no place where you can discover other people's work, learn from other people, hire someone with one click. There was no easy way to do this. And so Contra really started out as a passion project for a problem that myself and, like I said, our entire team had. And so here we are today. We have over 1 million users. 50,000 companies have used Contra. We're starting to see crazy companies come into Contra now, like Anduril and Scale AI and Bolt. In fact, even Bolt uses Contra in some ways. And so it's cool to see, like, the creative builder audience is growing, and now it's being supercharged by products like Bolt. So I'm super, super stoked to be here.
That's awesome. So you mentioned kind of that Crew was a bit of an inspiration, and then unfortunately the acquisition didn't go well and it got shut down. What was it that kind of was different about, because this isn't the first time there's been sort of an online marketplace for talent of one sort or another? What kind of jumped out to you and made you realize there was this opportunity to differentiate?
Yeah, so Crew was great because it was extremely curated. So everyone that was on the platform was really, really talented. So it was already like kind of higher end than everything else that existed. And the UI was super minimal. It kind of just got out of the way. It didn't try to do too many things for you. It kind of just showcased what a user could do. And then there's like this nice little messenger. But the biggest flaw with Crew and all these other platforms that I saw was the business model. They were applying this like eBay Web 1.0 model to like people and like these kind of differentiated networks and service marketplaces. So basically, you make money, they charge you a commission, and that's the business model. And it didn't work at all, right? So this is back in the day when you would kind of communicate with people over Skype, right? So every time I would hire someone, they'd be so talented. We'd have a great project. And they'd always say like, hey, can you help me split the fees? Or like, hey, can we add the fees on top? Or like, hey, like, please leave me a good review. And there's like this weird, like kind of power imbalance where the marketplace kind of felt like a middleman, and it wasn't really helping the relationship thrive. It wasn't helping the project go. It was like, hey, we'll connect you, and then we'll basically be a leech on your project for the remainder of your relationship. And I was like, okay, like that doesn't feel right. Internet culture is going to win. Like things are going to become more connected. Then like PayPal came out, then Venmo came out, and now it's like USDC. There's so many different ways to send people money. There's so many different ways to make an agreement. There's so many different ways to communicate. You can find someone on X, on LinkedIn, on Discord. It doesn't matter. And so I was like, okay, this business model is not going to be around for much longer. Like we need to innovate here. And so we decided to approach the problem from, hey, what if we made a network versus a marketplace? What if we made this commission free? We still supported payments, but we didn't take a cut. Like, what would that look like? And that's how Contra was born. And so that enabled us to do so many different things, right? So now if you hire an engineer or you hire a vibe coder on Contra, you can see their portfolio link. You can see their GitHub. We don't have to obfuscate that information because that's not our business. And so we ultimately created this totally open network that created a lot of trust with our creative builder user base. And it created a lot of trust with clients because we're like, hey, like, this is pretty clear. Like they're not trying to like gate me into transaction. They're not trying to push me into hiring someone that might not be a good fit. And so it kind of started with that one insight that's like, hey, like what if this was commission free? And then it's kind of grown from there. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things that really jumped out to me. So I guess maybe to add a little bit of the Bolt, story on with how we've been interacting with Contra. So the relationship started from a cold email. And it was a really well written cold email. So whoever put that together, props to them. I think we raised a round and announced a round early this year, and when that happens, you get a lot of new folks learn about your company, and you get a lot of outreach looking for partnership and that kind of thing. And we have very limited capacity, but that pitch just made so much sense, like a way for builders to find clients that was truly like focused on being that connective marketplace rather than taking a cut out of the revenue stream, right? That really struck me as unique and made us really comfortable. This is the first partnership of this kind that we've ever done with a freelancing and agency platform, and knowing that it was a platform that really put the builders first just made that such an easy decision to lean in and try it out. So since then, we not only have put our tool on to Contra, and by the way, so if you go to contra.com/bolt, I believe, yes, is the link, and I'll drop that in the chat here. We've got our profile set up on there, and so you can actually apply to get different badges, because that was the other thing that I really love about the platform, and that made us very comfortable sending our users and folks that need help from more of an expert that direction, is knowing that we get to actually vet and validate every person who's going to be associated as an expert, as a Bolt expert on the platform. So there's a big opportunity to be one of the early folks to get those badges. We're being extremely selective with handing those out. So if someone's going to hire a Bolt expert on Contra, like that's someone we're going to stand behind as a person who's known to us and that we're confident can get the job done. So since doing that, we realized, well, hey, wait a minute. I mean, let's put our money where our mouth is. And recently, for the hackathon that we're running, if you haven't heard about it, we're running the world's largest hackathon right now. We've got over 90,000 people registered and building, and there's over $1 million in prizes up for grabs. So I would definitely go check that out if you haven't heard about it yet. Hackathon.dev. And as part of that, we realized that we had a need to recruit a ton of Bolt experts from the community to help out all of the builders for the hackathon. And so we posted that job up on Contra. And so that's definitely, if you are a Bolt expert and you're looking to establish yourself in the community, I would head over to bolt.com, not bolt.com, contra.com/bolt. And we're still hiring more folks for this community position, community mentor position. And it's been incredible. So we've been able to scale up an army of over 40 community mentors in a matter of weeks with the help of the Contra team. And we've been having incredible feedback from those folks. They're being super, super helpful and just working with all the new Bolt builders. So it's been really incredible to see how quickly you can build up like a massive team of people who have a particular skill set with a platform like this. I'm imagine you may have leaned on this same superpower over the years building Contra itself.
Totally. Like, we are a super small team at Contra, but at any given moment, we have like 40 or 50 active projects with Contra users who are actually building Contra as well. So whether it's design, whether it's like engineering work, social media support, like we rely on the Contra network pretty heavily as well.
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome to realize what you can accomplish when you have almost like this like network out into the field of talent that you can tap into at any time. Because hiring, like traditional hiring, I can certainly attest is very, very hard. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time. and being able to just spin up a team of that size, like being able to recruit 30 to 40 people and get everyone moving in the same direction and not have to deal with all the complexity of traditional hiring it totally feels like a superpower. I know that as like a customer of the platform, we are definitely going to be using this again in the future. I guess that's actually kind of a perfect transition to something that Ben has to announce for us today, because that was also something that kind of came together in this using the platform model.
100%. Yeah. So I do want to give a shout out to Andre from our team, who I believe sent you that cold email and got this across the line. So well done, Andre, if you're listening to this. And then, yeah, like I love what you said about like kind of the brand alignment between like you and your users, because Bolt, like you clearly care about your users. You're throwing this giant hackathon. It would be really hard for you to partner with a platform that would take a cut of their earnings, right? Like that wouldn't feel morally right. And so, oh yeah, there's Andre in here. But yeah, like that's like, it's crazy to see, like as Contra evolves, we now have this like third side of our network, which is creator tools like Bolt. And we need to make sure that like we align with your brand as well. Like you've worked so hard to build this brand for builders, and like we need to make sure that we can like live up to that. But what's really cool, hey, we're in the middle of this giant hackathon. Your team is absolutely on fire. That's all I see on X. And so maybe this will be some inspiration for the hackathon for some of the people out there who are participating. So Contra recently built a Bolt app for our yearly Creator Tools survey. And so every year we survey our entire user base. This year it's going to be over 1 million people. And we ask them, what are the tools that you're most excited about? And in the past, you know, we've used Typeform, we've just used email, we've used Google Forms. That's super lame, right? It's not brand aligned. You can't customize it. It doesn't feel authentic, doesn't feel native. But for the first time ever, we actually built it custom. We built this questionnaire, the survey, using Bolt. And it's not just the survey, it's the sharing tool, it's the admin functionality. Like we're living in a time where like it's never been a better time to be a builder, and this is just a testament. So let me see if I can share my screen and share what this looks like, because maybe this will be inspiring to some of the other people who are participating in the hackathon. So let me see. Okay, I'm going to share this. Okay, let me see if you guys can. Let me know if you can see this.
There we go.
Okay, so off the bat, this is crazy. This is 10x better than Typeform, right? This is using Contra's brand elements. You can see our logo down here. You can see Creator Tool Awards. And this is live. And so we have this social sharing functionality. So I'm going to pass this over to the Bolt team after this. So you can share this with your community to get votes. But this is so powerful for Contra, right? This is not just some Typeform that you send around. It's super uninspiring. This is custom software, all for the purpose of marketing. This is Vibe marketing in real life, right? And then we even have an admin, right? I don't want to show the results just yet. Voting just went live, but we have an admin that shows us data viz behind like all the votes and everything else. And you can see that like we can send this to Bolt. We have another one for, let's just say Spline. And so now Spline can also send this out to their community as well. So this is so powerful for us. And so I'll just walk through what this looks like.
So this is super cool to see, like the design. You got the sweet graphics in the background. And yeah, so I guess I'm curious, as you're walking through the survey here, like how are you thinking about the broader picture here with like because I think it's like a survey. So there's different kinds of surveys, right? We do like customer experience surveys. You know, you're asking about NPS and stuff like that. Sometimes onboarding surveys, right? You're trying to get a sense of like the persona and that kind of thing. What's the thought process behind this survey as a marketing tool?
Yeah, so, you know, what Contra has 3 sides to our platform. We have independent creative builders, people who make money using their skills. We have clients, and agencies who are hiring builders, who are hiring creatives. And then we have creator tools. So think about like Bolt, think about like Framer, think about Spline or like Figma or Canva. And so these are the tools that people use to earn a living. And so what we want to know are what are the tools that people are most excited about from our user base? Like, because we can tell based on like the data, what they're adding to their profile, what people are earning money with, but that doesn't capture user sentiment, right? That's just like maybe a bit too quantitative. What we want to know is like, hey, like, what do you actually like? What are you actually excited about? And so this helps us kind of figure out like who should we be reaching out to. So if we go into AI coding, you can see there's all these different types of tools. And so we click on Bolt. When users let us know like what stands out about Bolt, we can then use that to not only like explain to other users how they can earn money using Bolt on Contra, we can also send this to you, right? And say like, hey, we should do more of these events together because there's this huge excited user base on Contra that wants to earn more money with Bolt. And so this is one of our core kind of marketing pillars. This speaks to both the independent builder audience and also the creator tool audience. But like I said, our alternative was make a Typeform, make a Google form, right? It's not the same, right? It doesn't have the viral sharing functionality. It doesn't have an admin tool that allows us to see all the data coming in real time. It's not as like on brand. It's not as sexy, right? Like it's all about like standing out today, right? Everyone's going to get paid for that kind of last mile of creativity. So now everyone who's participating in the hackathon can create custom software for pretty much any use case. And that's crazy. And so this is how Contra's doing it. Obviously there's a million other things we're going to do with this, but this is just version 1, right? We're still early.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the viral sharing aspect strikes me as really important as well, right? Because you think about, okay, there's the survey, right? And
Yeah.
now you've taken it from a type form to you've turned it into something that is beautiful, first of all. And then you have those screens where each tool,
Yeah.
right, that's a part of the survey has their own shareable landing page. Can you talk me through like the thinking there? Because obviously, as one of the tools on the survey, I mean, I've had some thoughts about that, but curious, like the importance of that for this overall like marketing initiative.
Totally. So one of the things that's really important to Contra is getting the community activated, right? And so this is one of the ways that we can actually work with our partners like Bolt to help activate their community on Contra, because the more people that are sharing apps that they've made with Bolt, sharing their work, showcasing their skills, the more clients will then discover them, hire them. That'll create more demand for Bolt. That will create more demand for custom software. And that's like a virtuous cycle that just creates so many different types of network effects. And as a network business, this is super, super important for us. So the fact that we can spin up something like this and it be custom and it be branded, this makes it so much easier for a company like Bolt to share it, or a company like Spline, or a company like Framer to share this with their community. And obviously, like Bolt's so popular, you have 90,000 people in a hackathon. That's insane. You have over 5 million users. We want you to share this with your users, because then maybe some of your users could get value from Contra. Maybe some of them can like help teach other users like, hey, I've made money as an agency owner, or I've made money as an independent creative making custom software. And this is just an example of it, right? It's pretty meta because it's like custom software that helps promote the idea that you can make custom software. And so I think there's definitely so many different kind of offshoots on why this is like pretty powerful marketing for us, but like we couldn't have done this even just a year ago, right? We wouldn't have the internal resources to be able to spin something up like this. And so to see like where the world is going, especially from like, wow, like from a vibe marketing perspective, it's really limitless. And so I'm really excited to see what some of the hackathon members create from this angle as well. Like, how do they make it viral? How do they build in the growth loops to the things that they're building?
Totally. I think that is so important. Like I think I saw like an Instagram reel the other day where someone was actually, it was a snap. Okay. It was actually on Snapchat. My fiance sent me this reel where someone was talking about, they won't even get excited about a business idea until they have a creative growth loop kind of marketing idea to go behind it. I think in 2025, like distribution is becoming more and more important. Like this is not an original thought from me, but if you're on X, I'm sure you've seen it everywhere. It just makes sense, right? If building the actual product, the software, the app is becoming easier and easier and easier, then the sort of competitive front of the contest for entrepreneurs and builders is going to move away from the actual building piece in some sense and to other parts of the entrepreneurial game, and distribution is a huge part of that. And I think there's so many businesses today that are built on on top of content, right? You see many YouTube creators, their YouTube channel is their top of funnel for their business. I think that's great if you're great on camera, right? And you have some type of content that you can make and put up on YouTube that fits as a top of funnel for your business. But I think this is a great example of it. Distribution doesn't have to mean you're a YouTuber, or you start a podcast. There's also this actual, like, I guess, vibe marketing, right? That we're talking about here today, where you can actually build creative tools, and like in this case, a survey that have a viral sharing component to them that serve as top of funnel. I think that's a really interesting concept for folks in the hackathon and anybody looking to start a business or find leads for their agency or freelancing work to think about. Because I bet we're going to see, now that it's about similar effort to make a good YouTube video or make a creative app like this, I think we're going to see more interesting like apps that are these viral tops of funnel for businesses.
100%. And you said it super well. Like, it's no longer how difficult it is to make the product. It's like, how creative can you be with the idea? So it's a true idea meritocracy, and that's what Bolt is really empowering. And so we're going to see so many creative applications over the next year. Think about it. Like, this is the worst it's ever going to be, right? Like, this is the least creative it's ever going to be. I can't wait to see what comes out of the hackathon. But if you can make a product that's inherently viral, it distributes itself, you don't really need the content side. Obviously, like, the content side is like, wow, there's so many good creators who are doing that. And there's a lot of different like TikTok strategies too. I'm curious to see, is that a component in the hackathon criteria, like the distribution and like the usability that some of these apps get? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's not like a core component of the primary judging track. There are, I don't know if this has been announced yet, but I mean, whatever, on these live streams, you come to the live stream, I'm always leaking various different unannounced stuff. And maybe it did get announced last week, I'm not sure. But there are going to be some like subcategory challenge prizes that do have distribution components in them. Nice. But for the most part, the criteria is focused on the app itself, the idea, the potential value it could deliver to users, that kind of thing. But I do think that that's for the official hackathon like prize, right? But I really think that it's a very good point you bring up, right? The hackathon to me is not about the prizes. Like, yes, we're giving away $1 million in prizes. Okay, so sort of, it is, that's cool, but that's not really the main deal with the hackathon, because there's just only so many people that are going to win a prize. That's just the reality with the contests like this. The real value of the hackathon is learning the skills and the connections you make, the team you build, like learning how to use these tools, learning how to think through an idea and build something that delivers value. What is the best way to determine if what you built is delivering value? It's getting it in the hands of real users, which means you have to figure out distribution and then finding out the feedback, right? And the learnings from observing the user behavior and talking to the users, very importantly, and seeing all that feedback. So my actual hope of the hackathon is less about, oh, who's going to win the prizes. It's who's going to launch a business that becomes their primary income stream into the future years after the hackathon, right? And so I do think that thinking about this distribution piece is super, super important, and will be something that I'm going to be watching very closely over the next few weeks, especially like after June 30th, when the submission period closes, right? Where there's so many participants that it's going to take 26 days to review all the submissions and make the announcements. So there's going to be this big chunk of time where you have this opportunity while the hype of the hackathon is still here to like get your app out there, adopt users, and start turning this thing into a real business. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what people come up with.
It's so exciting. I mean, I'm in the Twitter community for the hackathon, and there's some heavy hitters who are participating. So I know there's going to be some creativity coming out of that, especially from the growth side. I don't know if you follow Brett from Design Joy, but he's probably one of the more talented kind of like builder voices on X. And he's already like dropped a live stream, and he has some cool ideas, and just the design looks epic. So I think there's going to be some growth hacky stuff that we're going to see. But I think companies 100%. Across the board are going to start working this way. They're going to start building custom software for things that they used to have to use off-the-shelf tools for. And I think that's just going to create, one, so much demand for Bolt and building custom software as a skill. And then two, it's really going to reward that last mile creativity. Like, what is the thing that you can conceive or think of that's actually going to differentiate your idea or your product from the rest? Now that everyone's on a level playing field, how do you take it to the next level? And I think that's where we're really going to see a lot of the sauce, if you know what I'm saying.
100%. And I would absolutely, if you don't already follow Brett from DJ on Twitter, I would go follow him, because he's someone who has built a massive business, a over $1 million a year revenue business with his agency on the top of content, right? And so the fact that he's now engaging in using vibe coding tools, he figured out how to do sort of the last wave of building a business on top of content, which, I mean, that still works. It's not like that wave's over, but, and having someone like that dipping into this next wave of how can you, use these vibe coding tools to create actual like software that has viral loops in it and everything will be very fascinating. Yeah, I have no doubt that he's gonna come up with some good stuff. So definitely got to watch there. I saw a question come in around, let's see, where's the pinned? I don't know, I lost it. But how long did it take to actually put this survey together, and how did you go about that process?
Yeah, so I think from start to finish, it was under 2 weeks to get like the core kind of like the basics of the app down. Really from the start, you have to kind of figure out like what are the actual requirements. You have to think like a product manager. Like, what does this actually need? Obviously, you need the survey. Obviously, you need the sharing component. Obviously, you need like the admin tool so you can actually see where this data is, where this data lives. And so, yeah, start to finish, like really starting with like really good requirements, I think is helpful. But the Contra team, have to give them a lot of credit. They really think through all of these things, because we're building software as well, the old-fashioned way. But I have to give Aaron a lot of credit from our team. Aaron and Reza, they really kind of saw this project from start to finish and thought through the requirements. And so it was relatively quick, though, because before this, I mean, think about it, this would have taken months. And then how do you even allocate resources, right, to like a marketing experiment? Now, like, it's crazy. Like, it's just crazy. More companies are going to be doing this. So like, if you're a Bolt builder, learn the skill, learn how to talk about it, learn how to write these requirements. You're going to get so many projects from the best companies in the world. We're already seeing it in job posts everywhere. But yeah, I'd say like 2 weeks, starting with good requirements, understanding what you actually need, obviously thinking about the design elements. You need to have, Contra already has an established kind of like brand playbook. Thank you, Aaron, once again. But all of those things kind of make it faster for us. But it depends on how creative you are, how fast you want to move.
Yeah. And then in terms of who actually put hands on keyboard, did you turn to the Contra community again to actually build out the app?
Yeah, so we actually hired a Bolt expert off of Contra. So, that's going to be more and more of a thing. So Contra as a company is hiring for the skill. So that other companies are going to be hiring in this way as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, which is, so if you're watching this and maybe you're at a large organization and you're like, oh, this is a cool idea, I'd love to do it. What's the next step? Well, if obviously you could go learn to use Bolt, but the beauty is you could also just go over to Contra and just hire an expert to do it for you. So, it's kind of choose your own adventure. Both scenarios we're happy with. So win-win either way. Okay, I think anything else you wanted to talk about Vibe marketing in general, or the Creator Tool Awards? I think on my side we've kind of covered a lot of what I wanted to get through there, and I have another direction we could go.
Yeah, definitely. If you are on the live stream, definitely go vote for Bolt in the awards. Let's see. There we go. Yep. So we just put the link here, and then share it with your friends, your community. We want to know what people are using, what people are excited about, and so I would say this is probably, like I said, the least creative form of Vibe marketing we're going to see over the next year. And it's only going to get better and better. So I'm excited to see what other companies do kind of in the same vein. So more to come there.
Absolutely. And then after you fill out the survey, if you want to become one of these Bolt experts on Contra and be one of the recipients of these inbound jobs, as I mentioned, we are being very selective and we're taking our time getting to know folks. But you can go and apply for that opportunity there and get in the queue. And we're really excited to add some more excellent folks as Bolt experts on the platform. We expect to continue sending folks that direction, and we're going to actually work on some more pages on our site kind of talking about this in the near future. So excited. I think this is only going to become a larger and larger part of our ecosystem here. So definitely now is absolutely still the ground floor and the early days of what's going to be happening here. So highly recommend that you head over there and get signed up. I just saw this comment. That's a nice comment. I'll take it. So, that's a kind of a perfect transition over to what I want to chat with you about next. So there's a lot of people. I mean, Bolt has only existed since October of last year, right? We were the first in-browser environment for building software that was accessible to everyone. And why was that? Why was that only in early October of last year that was possible? Well, because up until last summer, it wasn't possible for non-developers to build software with AI. It just wasn't good enough. And then with the launch of Anthropic's Sonnet 3.5 model, suddenly this new period of history effectively began. It sounds crazy to say that, but that is just the reality of the situation. We actually tried to build Bolt 6 months earlier using the state-of-the-art models at the time, and it just didn't work. The odds that your code would compile and run were just too low for it to be a useful experience if you didn't know how to write software already. And so we are still in the first 12 months of this just new period of history where writing code doesn't require it to come out of your fingertips. It can come out of this intelligence factory, a data center somewhere with a bunch of GPUs, just manufacturing intelligence out of electricity. That's just crazy, so that's the new era that we find ourselves in. And that is going to mean like a lot of change in the economy. You know, if you're following the economic news, like, you know, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, but you look back to previous times in history, where there's been the most recent two, one of which I was alive for and one of which I was not, the Industrial Revolution, and then kind of like the .com information economy revolution, caused massive disruption in like the types of jobs that were available. And, there's definitely downsides to that for sure. One of the upsides is it creates new types of jobs and new opportunities. And one of those that's happening right now is this ability to be a freelancer or to start an agency and provide marketing, web design, and custom software development services to small, medium, and even large businesses out there that need help with this. So I think for a lot of people, I mean, if I was graduating college right now with a computer science degree or a design focused degree, or a business degree, I would heavily be thinking about, I would definitely not be trying to get a software development job as a junior developer right now at a massive company, right? Those are not on the uptrend. Those are definitely on the downtrend. But what is on the uptrend is the ability to take that skill set and start a business of your own, serving clients, especially using this new class of tools. So little long-winded transition here, but what I wanted to get into is, Ben, you are one of the leading marketplaces for these types of folks to find work and jobs and clients, and you get to talk to a ton of these people. So I was just curious if you had some wisdom and advice to share with somebody thinking about embarking on that journey for their career.
100%. And I think, well said in terms of like historically how these changes have come. And I think before the Industrial Revolution, most people had like family run businesses or like artisan businesses where they provided a very specific niche service to their community. I think that's where we're kind of going back to. I don't think we're going to have these kind of like corporate factory style jobs where you're just like kind of hitting your head against a keyboard working for like this giant machine. I think people are going to be creating values in so many niche ways. And I think most professional value for creative builders tomorrow will accrue to that last mile of creativity. Like now that everyone has kind of like all the tools have like really raised the floor, like the jobs of the future are going to be kind of defining what the ceiling is. Like what is the most creative thing you can do? And can you execute on that? Can you prove that? I think, it's always been tough for kind of the junior side of the job market. Like we've seen so many shifts happen, even in just like the last, I don't know, like 30 years since like the internet's been around, but people have been calling for the end of X job for forever because it kind of happens, right? But even like some jobs that exist today didn't exist 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And we're constantly seeing new ways that people create value for each other. And I think tools like Bolt don't shrink the market for programmers. They dramatically expand it, right? You dramatically expand the types of ways that people can create value and economic value to earn a living through. And so advice for the next generation, just keep upskilling, learn the cutting edge, right? Learn how to use Bolt, learn how to become a good designer, learn how to use Midjourney, all of the tools, learn how to use them together, right? Learn how to make videos about your creations, learn how to distribute these on platforms like Contra or Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube or TikTok or whatever. I think there's always going to be opportunity for people who stay curious and people who are learning these skills, and just be on the lookout for those new jobs. Like create your own job, create like a new service in the marketplace that doesn't exist, right? It's literally an open playing field, right? It's like there's so many greenfield opportunities, blue sky opportunities, whatever you want to call them, they haven't existed before. And like I think we're seeing a lot of that on Contra now, right? Like things like custom software generation, vibe coding, vibe marketing, AI video creation, all of these things are things, these are ideas and concepts that didn't exist last year, 2 years ago. And now people are earning thousands of dollars doing this. And so Will jobs be replaced? Probably, but I think they're going to be jobs that maybe shouldn't have been that human in the first place. They're probably going to be jobs that like took the humanity out of all of us, and they're like kind of like these repetitive tasks that we probably didn't want to do anyway. I think things are going to get much more creative, and I think the future is going to very much reward creativity in that last mile of creativity, especially. So I think we're all going to be okay. I'm definitely not a doomer about this kind of stuff. I'm totally a believer that there's just going to be so much more.
Yeah, I think especially if you have the attitude of the type of person that sees Bolt.new Hackathon Contra live stream, and you're like, yes, this is what I want to do with my Monday morning or my Monday evening, depending on your time zone. Like just having that sort of personal agency to, and I don't mean agency in terms of business, but agency in terms of like self-determination and just drive to go learn new things. Like that skill is becoming significantly more valuable over time, right? Because if you wind the clock back, you had to like go to college, right? And like go through these scripted programs and like get a degree. That's like sort of being spoon fed, like this, like that path kind of benefits people that are potentially more willing to not drive their own path forward, but rather just sort of sign up for a track and sit there as they're sort of spoon fed what someone thinks that they're supposed to know. The issue with that today is there's no college degree that's going to teach you how to use VO3, Google's new video generation model, to make cinematography quality content from home without a camera and without any traditional filmmaking skills. There's not a degree that's going to focus on how to use tools like Bolt, to build software. There's not a degree that is going to teach you how to create viral marketing loops using vibe coded apps for top of funnel for your agency business. And that's, really no fault of the universities. It's just not possible. It takes them years to develop a new degree track and new, textbooks and content and lectures and all that stuff. And given how no Bolt University then, we'll come back to that in a minute, because no tradition. Yeah, we're not going to open a traditional college, but we are going to do something there. There's like things are moving so quickly with all these tools that traditional educational institutions can't keep up. So as a result, if you have the personal drive to come to live streams like this and then pull the threads and learn the topics, that's going to put you at a huge advantage and allow you to take advantage of this economic shift that's going to be happening. Just a few practical examples that I'll throw out, and Ben, feel free to chime in with more if you think of them. Like things that have crossed my mind. I'm not talking to hundreds of agency owners, a month though. So these are just kind of coming out of stuff that I'm seeing personally from my friends and people that I've talked to and stuff I've been thinking about. Like one thing that's, I think, under focused on right now, you see like people like Brett from Design Joy running a million or multi-million revenue business, right? And he's an OG, like he's marketing globally, right? He's trying to, you don't need to go 0 to 1 million. Okay. So if you're just thinking about, you're getting started out, you're trying to figure out how to replace a full-time salary with freelancing and agency work, I think that you don't have to go global. Focusing local, I think, is super underrated, because local small and medium businesses are so bad at marketing and websites and software and video creation and creative design on average. managers, right? Some of them are great at it. This is no, I'm not trying to come at local businesses. My parents were local small business owners. But the thing that you got to understand about, a company like Contra or a company like Bolt, we can hire incredible marketing people, development people, and on staff, and work with like these agencies that are like Brett's agency, that are these global agencies and teams. Local small businesses, they're just trying to go out and fix people's HVAC systems, or do the plumbing, or, serve some food, or serve some drinks, right? Cut people's hair, do people's nails, sell some clothes. Like, they are tiny, tiny teams. They don't have time to be on Twitter and on live streams like this thinking about these new opportunities. They got to run their businesses. They got staffing issues. They got boots on the ground problems they need to solve. So there's this massive, massive opportunity to just start by focusing local. Go out and meet people in your community, join the Chamber of Commerce, do online paid marketing that's super, super geo-targeted to the zip codes right around you. Like, just unbelievable opportunity, I think, there for people just getting started who want to develop an income through agencies and freelance.
100%. And you see some of these local businesses that will team up with just an absolute cracked like marketer or like freelancer, and then they'll go global, right? All of a sudden they go viral on TikTok, or they go viral on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. And then you see like their content. It's really cool to see. I think, yeah, if you can level the playing field for small business owners just in your local geo, that's a huge, huge market. I totally agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Especially, like, this is getting a little further afield, but we've mentioned a couple times, like, the video, just something I've been thinking about a lot recently. Like, super easy to spin up a landing page with Bolt, right? And then if you really want to make it pop, throw a video on there, right? And the video generation stuff right now it's absolutely bonkers. And the idea that a local small business could have a custom produced ad, like 30-second ad, that looks like a major film studio put that together, cost wise, impossible 12 months ago, just ridiculous, because they need to drive like strong ROI and conversions. Like, oftentimes these are thin margin businesses.
Yeah.
Now you can go remake their website in like a single prompt, as I demonstrated on the live stream that I did on the Contra channel. So if you want to check that out, go over to Contra's YouTube channel. I'll drop that in the chat in a second if Zoe can get me that link. And check out the live stream we did over there. But redesign the website. Okay. Then you could go pitch the business on the redesigned website and then tweak from there. But then also you could create video assets for them that you could embed on their page. And then also, then you take that and help them set that up on like Instagram, geo-targeted. And now suddenly this small business has a fancy new website with dope video content, plus, paid advertising with video, none of which would have been possible last year. And that will easily allow them to outcompete all their local competition. So, it's just really, really powerful opportunity there. Let's see here. Any questions? I think that's kind of everything that we kind of had on the agenda to chat about today. But if anybody has some questions that they want to drop in the chat, we're happy to address those. I'm just going to scroll up here and see if there's anything we've missed. Ramonta says company tailored operational apps are really in demand. Absolutely. Interested in this trend too. I've been talking to the head of growth over at N8N. Are they on the Contra platform?
I just put a feeler out for our team to like add them to the platform, because I've been seeing some of their workflows. It looks absolutely wild.
Cool. I'll put in a good word, because we were just chatting with them a week ago, and I think there's a lot for these operational apps, right?
Yeah.
There's a huge opportunity where you can build the slick front end with Bolt, and then you just integrate it with N8N to do a bunch of other like agentic flows in the background.
But to double down on Ramontis's point, I ran a small business on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. We had like a food production facility, and we built custom software for our facility. And I kid you not, over the course of like 4 years running this business, I spent millions of dollars on engineers, like millions of dollars. So like there's so many workflows that we needed to automate, that like Bolt could probably, oh man, it would have saved us not only so much time, but so much money. And it unlocked real revenue for the business too, right? So that's how I actually cut my teeth in like working with like engineering teams. And so I think there's like something pretty big here. So like Bolt times N8N times like thinking like a PM, looking at someone's workflow, sitting down with the business owner, mapping out their operations, putting that into your prompt, making sure you can actually get those workflows right. I think that is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. I don't even think that's like millions. I think everyone has this problem. Everyone needs custom software for their operations. So I would double click on that one for sure.
100%. Yeah. And that's something that we're excited to delve deeper into. And I think there's absolutely, especially when you think about the Contra agency freelancing stuff, there's definitely something there. While I'm going to give people a quick second to drop some more questions in, and I'm going to give a quick update on the hackathon here. So if you haven't registered yet, you can go to hackathon.dev, and this is what you will see when you click register. And as you can see, there's still 21 days left to the submission deadline, so plenty of time for you to get involved. We're up to almost 92,000 participants now. And I also wanted to talk, we've been talking about, actually using Bolt in the real world and how you can make money with the tool. So wanted to talk about our gold sponsors of the hackathon here real briefly as well, as that kind of ties into what we're talking about. So we'll start here with Supabase in this case, because with the Creator Tool Awards survey, I'm going to just go ahead and assume that the back end of that was most likely powered by Supabase.
Yep.
That's awesome. And that's what enables the app to be more than just a form collecting information, but actually have that back end that in real time is showing the analytics and showing everybody's feedback and responses, and allowing the app to actually have an admin panel that lets you go in and control it and see what's going on. So if you're building something for the hackathon and you need a backend or you need authentication, highly recommend that you check out Supabase. Then, once you've actually built out a powerful app, the next thing you're probably going to want to do is deploy the app. So we have Netlify integrated directly into Bolt. When you hit that deploy button in the upper right-hand corner, that deploys it out to Netlify. And then there's actually a link in the chat that allows you to claim that site into your Netlify account. And super, super easy, great hosting solution, and super scalable too. They can grow with you all the way up to a Bolt-sized company and much, much larger. We use them for a lot of our hosting needs as well. Once you have the thing hosted, probably going to want to hook a domain up to it, and that's where Entry comes in. They're giving away free domains. You heard that right. A free domain for 1 year for every single participant in the hackathon. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, dang, I need to go start my agency today and start making some money. Well, and you got a name idea, go over to Entry and check it out. You can claim your free domain. Basically, you register for the hackathon. Within 48 hours, you get an email with all the free tools that you get in the builder pack, including a free Bolt plan, and redeem that. And then when you deploy your site, right in the chat, there'll be a link to claim your domain from Entry. Now that you've got your site up and running, you might want to actually make some money, maybe charge for some things. And that's where Revenue Cat comes in. They make it super, super easy to integrate payments, including for mobile apps. That's their specialty. They're the #1 payment provider for mobile apps on the iOS App Store. And super excited to be partnering with all these folks. Making the hackathon possible. These are gold sponsors, and we're going to be doing live streams with them as well to dig deeper into various topics that are going to be helpful for the builders. So highly recommend that you tune in for that. Let's see here. Looking through the chat here, anything that is popping out to you, Ben?
No, but those are some killer sponsors.
Yeah, it was incredible, like the way the hackathon came together. KP had this idea, tweeted it, goes super viral, and we decide we're going to pull the trigger that same day. And the sponsors, to their credit, they were on it. They saw the opportunity. We did 0 outbound. All of these sponsors came inbound, wanted to support the community, and 100% of every single sponsor dollar went straight back into the prize pool. We're covering all the operational costs of the hackathon ourselves. So these people, they saw the opportunity, they wanted to get back to the community, and it was absolutely incredible to see the response there. Here's Ashley's giving a shout out for the previous live stream that we did on the Contra channel. So I dropped the channel URL in the chat. Definitely recommend you go look that out. Check that one out. That live stream was a lot more technical. We got into how to actually use Bolt, tips and tricks, the buttons to click, the modes to use, how to actually get started and complete your first client project. So highly, highly recommend it. Let's see here. Here's one question. Can you use the OpenAI APIs, Gemini APIs in apps that you're building in Bolt? Absolutely, you can. The way I'd recommend to do that is start with the user interface. So get your page built out in Bolt, and maybe there's a chat box on it, etc. And just focus on the user interface at first in your prompting. Then switch to discussion mode and switch to discussion mode. It's in the chat, in the Bolt chat, and at the bottom of the chat box, there's a little chat icon. I'll share my screen here so you see what that looks like. Click that button right here, and you'll see the blue discuss dialog. Then talk about which API you want to. Oh, my screen's not being shared. Sorry. Right here, this button right here at the bottom of the chat, click that. It'll go blue and say discuss. And then just in the chat, put in, hey, I want to use Gemini API, blah, blah, blah. And then tell it explicitly, please go out to the internet and look at the docs, look at the latest docs for this API, and come up with a plan on how you are going to implement that for our existing app. So that would be my advice there. Then Bolt will actually get on Google, find the latest documentation, come up with a plan, and go from there. So yeah, highly recommend you take that approach. I'm seeing a question about how important is the privacy policy and terms of service part for the hackathon. It's important. I'm not sure what, yeah, it's important, I would say. Pay attention to it. Let's see. How to invest in Bolt. Well, that become a limited partner in a venture capital firm potentially. Unfortunately, America has some laws where it's very hard to invest in private companies unless you have a net worth of over $1 million. But got to be a qualified investor. Interesting topic, though, if you want to go read about it. Mohammed asks, can we do manual changes in the code in Bolt? Absolutely. Very, very easy. Let me share my screen again here to edit the code directly. I mean, I say it's very easy. I mean, it's easy to type into the box. I don't know what to type in, personally, but you just tap the code here and then, yeah, you can make edits here. Some things I do know how to edit, like the title, So that actually is super helpful. Another thing that's interesting, if you do want to start working directly in the code, which a lot of the times can be a good idea. Like if you just wanted to change like this text right here, dance through a house rewiring project, you can ask, where is the text dance through a house in my project? Which file? And you can ask that again in discussion mode. And this is really a great way, especially if you want to like increase your technical skills and save tokens, because this doesn't cost like any tokens to make manual edits, and discussion mode hardly takes any tokens. So then I didn't even know it was going to do that. I thought I was going to have to go manually find that. But the way you'd manually find it is you'd be on the preview, you'd hit code, you'd say, okay, source, let me open that folder, data, let me open that folder, there's the file. And then you can see all the date ideas and text is right here. So it doesn't, you don't have to be a programmer, right, to go and figure this out. And in fact, with the open ideas file, it's super, super easy. That's an awesome way to do it. And then once we're here, we can just go Command F and search for dance. There it is. And then we can dance through a house, rewiring. We'll just say like electrical project. We'll make a change. Then you just hit Command S or Control S or hit save. And now we got to actually reload the preview to see the changes. And because I have randomization on, we have a different data idea, so we can't even see the fix that we did, but it did work. So that's like, I definitely recommend that. That'll help you move quickly and be more effective. Well, thank you, Dr. Pell. I appreciate that. Okay. I think that's a wrap, Ben. I really appreciate you coming on. I think this was a awesome live stream, and always love working with you and the Contra team, and excited for more to come.
Likewise, can't wait to see what gets built in the hackathon. You guys are crushing it. Love seeing it all over my timeline. And thank you for everyone who tuned in.
Awesome. Well, there's another live stream coming up quite shortly. Let me check my calendar real quick. I think it is on same time, same place. So looking forward to seeing you guys there. That one will be with the Supabase team. So we'll dig deeper into the topics around backend. But until then, thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you next time. Peace.